Okay, so what I'm going to do is just do a quick setup on this guitar and go through the specifications. So the first thing I like to do right off the bat is just get the tremolo about the right height. What I like to do is just to be able to get it, just to be able to slip a piece of paper under the end of the tremolo. So I just put the piece of I bring it up to tension, bring it up to pitch, tune the guitar, and then I just adjust the claw with the screws. And what I've done is I just kind of tightened it up until it's just barely, I can just barely fit a piece of paper under there. Now you can float it higher if you want, so you can get some, floating tremolo, so you can dive up and dive down. But this is what I like to do as a standard setting. So I went ahead and did that, and the next part of it's going to be to check the straightness of the neck. Okay, so the next part of the setup, the first thing I'm going to check is the straightness of the neck. And I have this device here that can actually sit right on the neck. And the neck is really straight. And what I did before I even put the strings on this guitar is I adjusted the truss rod so the neck was perfectly straight. I like to do that because then when you bring it up to tension, sometimes it'll give you just a little bit of relief or concavity to the fretboard. And you probably only want about 10 thousandths for relief. So relief would be, a little bit right in the center of the board. And it looks like I have a little bit there. Let's see, hold on. Yeah, this board is actually almost perfectly straight, which is fine. So if you want to put a little bit more relief in there, you turn the truss rod counterclockwise, and that'll give you a little bit of relief. If you want to take some of the relief out, you turn the truss rod clockwise, and that'll help bring a little bit of the relief. Get rid of a little bit of the relief. If you go too far clockwise, you'll have a hump in the fretboard, or a back bow. So this one's pretty much perfectly straight. Now this guitar has really light strings on it, so it didn't really give me much relief at all. So it's pretty much perfectly straight, which is fine. I'm going to go with that. Now, at the very end of this video, I'll put in. Okay, I'm back. The camera died, so I'm not sure how much I was able to get there. So what I was checking was the straightness of the neck, and I was adjusting the truss rod, and the neck is pretty much dead straight. There might be maybe 5 thousandths of an inch in relief, which is a very small amount. The neck's almost perfectly straight, which is fine. So next part of it is we wanted to look at the height between the strings in the first fret. Make sure our nut is good. So I'll bring the guitar down here so you can see that. So when you look at the first fret and the low E string, and I'll put all of these metrics at the end of the video so you'll have it. So we did the straightness of the neck. First fret action is about 25 thousandths at the low E, and it's just about absolutely perfect. And then the high E string is about 22 thousandths. Let me find 22 here. 22 thousandths is right here. Low E string. And that's just about perfect. Another way you can check it too is just fret about the third fret and just see if there's a little bit of action on each string, and you just want a little tiny bit fretting the third, and there's just a little bit, you can see it there, just a little bit. And so the first fret action is let's say for the high B is 14 thousandths. Let's find 14. 14 thousandths, the high B. It's pretty darn close. It's pretty close. And so it goes low E, 25 thousandths, A string, 22 thousandths, D string 20, G 16 thousandths, B 14 thousandths, and high E 11 thousandths. 11 thousandths on the high E. Maybe I misspoke prior. So let's just look for 11 thousandths again, just to double check that. Here's 11 thousandths on the high E. That's pretty darn close. Okay, so the 12th fret action. So what I like to do is get the action on the low and the high E strings. And for the 12th fret, low E string would be 1.5 millimeters to 2 millimeters would be a good range, and that would be about 59 thousandths to 79 thousandths. So we'll just do the millimeters for this. So 1.5 millimeters to 2 millimeters on the 12th. So I'm about 175. I'm about right in the middle. So that's good. And then on the high E, 1 millimeter to 1.5 millimeters, or 39 thousandths to 59 thousandths. So let's see what we have on the high E. We have probably about 125, so we're right in the middle. So that's good. And then what we want to do is now, so we have the high and the low E set at the right action, and now I know I have a 12 radius neck, so I'm going to use this radius gauge here, and I'm just going to go ahead and set the strings to equal the fretboard based on the low and the high E. So I'll just go ahead, and it looks pretty much perfect, and I just went ahead and adjusted all the saddles so my radius is right at 12. Just to give you a little bit of side about a radius too, imagine a circle that's 12 inches in circumference, right? No, I mean diameter. 12 inches in diameter. If you took a little section of the circumference on that circle, on a 12-inch diameter circle, this would be the radius right here. So this would be, this would be a 12-inch radius circle. One thing you can do too with the action gauge is you can kind of just go ahead and look at every string too. So I know on the low, I'm about 175, pretty close. And then on the next one, I'm pretty close to 175. And the next one, I'm starting to get a little less than 175. And now I'm at about 1.5. And now I'm a little bit less than 1.5. And now I'm at about 1.25. So that's kind of another way to check the radius on it. So now you just bring it back up to tune. And I just wanted to show you that the tremolo seems to be about the right tension. It's pretty easy to manipulate. These are really light strings, so they're a little bit buzzy. I mean, not buzzy, but they just, I don't know, it's just really a light string. It's not my favorite. And then one last thing is the pickup height. I just like to go with a standard setting, and then you can kind of adjust it from there if it sounds a little bit off. If they're too close, it gets a little warbly. If it's too far away, it just sounds a little weak. So if you look at the bass sides, 6/64ths. So 6/64ths. Let me figure that out real quick. So back to the pickup height, 6/64 is about 90 thousandths of an inch. So if we just look on the high side, on the low side, I mean low E string, about 90 thousandths is about it, and then about 5/64 on the high, which is about 80. So we'll just use our, we're about 80 on the high side, and that gives us a good starting point for pickup height. And that's about it. I just bring it back up to tune and see how it sounds, and should be good.